This is VSiN, the sports betting network. This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
So last segment we were talking a lot about the NBA Cup as well as just the state of the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. They have been on an absolute tear, 24-1 to start the season, riding a 16-game win streak. How far could this streak ultimately go? JVT, you're our resident NBA El Capitan here on the network. So
Bill 80 says in the newsletter, I think it's a compliment that I'm an NBA Bigfoot.
Ooh. What size shoe you wear?
13.
Yeah, that's pretty big foot.
Is that above average?
I think so. I would assume so. That feels like my husband's like 6'7" and he wears a 13.5. So
he's got small feet.
Is that not very good for balance, I guess, if you're that tall. He's going to tip over at any moment.
I was going to say, for as tall as
maybe
he
that's
is.
Maybe that's why sports didn't work out for him.
Tiny feet for as tall as he is.
On that note, though, so we were talking about some of the different prop betting angles if you wanted to attack OKC in the future. I didn't say you had clown feet. I just thought, whoops, that's awkward. Now
give me plus 130 on the Thunder to win the entire thing.
Okay, that's the only way you want to play it? You didn't want to get into any of those other alternate props?
No, it's like some of these, like, for example, I think you can make the argument that plus 450, we were talking about, again, these winning streak props, current winning streak to reach 29 plus consecutive games, plus 450 is the number there. You're in a little bit of a tight turnaround, we'll call it, when you come out of the NBA Cup as the schedule sets up now, and assuming they make it, to the NBA Cup final, which again, with this prop, we would need them to make it to the NBA Cup final because they would lose to San Antonio if they didn't. So we need this to happen. So whole point here being, if you make it to the Cup final, which you need to happen, you're going to play on Tuesday here in Vegas. Then you're going to play on Thursday, Friday against Minnesota. You do get the weekend off. You got to take on Memphis. And then heading into Christmas, at San Antonio and then home versus San Antonio, we're assuming that Victor Wembanyama is going to be available in those games, or at least one of those two games, specifically Christmas, obviously. But because he is traveling with the team, one is assuming that, again, he's going to be back at some point soon, that I feel like a loss is coming potentially in this little tight turnaround with some pretty good opponents. I mean, look, Stormy, in reality, over the course of the next 12 days, they will potentially have to face Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs 3 times. That's a pretty good team that you got to go up against 3 times. And can you sweep through that? Can you go to Minnesota on Friday on the second leg of a back-to-back and beat the Timberwolves, who are going to be up for you? So I think there's some potential speed bumps here. I'm more interested in this team setting the record for the most wins we've seen in a regular season. Obviously, you can take losses in that regard. But to win like 29 straight, as we talked about, you can make the case, but I just don't know. It's really hard to maintain that winning streak.
Well, with that in mind, there was another prop I know you guys were discussing on Hardwood Handicappers, and we do have a clip of Zach Cohen kind of talking himself out of the bet, but would love your opinion as well on OKC not to lose consecutive games in the regular season at plus 425. Here's Zach on Hardwood Handicappers.
It's crazy. I mean, I did a little bit of digging to kind of talk about the back-to-backs, and I feel like in doing so, I kind of talked myself out of this being an extended winning streak because January 15th to 21st, they have a 4-game road trip where they go Houston, Miami, Cleveland, Milwaukee. And I don't know if Milwaukee's going to have Giannis or not by then, but those first 3 games are very tough. I can easily see them losing multiple games there. I don't know if it happens back to back or not, but then also January 29th and February 1st, Minnesota and Denver road games. And then to end the season, April 7th to 10th, when the season really should be wrapped up for OKC at that point, they'll go at Lakers, at Clippers, at Nuggets later in the year. So that kind of really, I do think they're going to lose back to back at some point, but I do think 74 plus seems very, very possible.
I think I went on to point out too, look, there's just good old fashioned variance.
Sure.
I mean, there's going to be a day where these guys go out there and shoot like 20% from 3. And how that's going to happen. And that could happen in consecutive games. The opposite of that is, you look at the Celtics, for example, who are going to play tonight. The Celtics are on this stretch right now, their last 12 games, where they're shooting like 40% on above the break threes, like the inefficient 3-point shot, if you will. They're just tearing nets off because they're just shooting so well. The opposite can happen over the course of 2 or even 3 games. And so if that happens, obviously, then the probability of you losing a game could happen, and then 2 in a row, whatever it is. So to go the rest of the season not losing consecutive games, that is crazy.
And you need more bang for your buck than plus 425, right? So that's where my mindset, because I think it's an intriguing proposition. Granted, everything that Zach laid out about the schedule is warranted, but I would need a little bit more value. Before you say that, can I just say I need to address the elephant in the room here? That's my first time seeing that clip visually. Why is your face so close to the camera? What is that?
We don't need to talk about that.
Like, I think we do. I think it's very important that we do. Why are you so close to the camera?
We got a weird setup.
We could see every follicle of your mustache, where each little hair was poking out.
It was very early in the morning. I was doing work, and I forgot to brush it.
Look at that.
I forgot to brush my mustache, which I do every morning.
Zach has like a normal amount of, space between he and the camera, some headroom. You're just all up in there.
I think it's because my head's so big. I think I was actually the same distance from the camera, Zach. But no. Look, I got a weird webcam and the Zoom's all weird. I don't know. Regular season stats for the Oklahoma City Thunder, courtesy of Brian Windhorst. He texted me. Thunder were 11-4 at the start of last season through the first 15 games. They are 80-11 since. 80-11. 80 wins, 11 losses. 45-3 at home.
Jesus. So
you talk about consecutive, and now I'm assuming that includes some postseason in there, but actually, no, I don't think that would. So 45-3, 80-11 overall. Like, this team is just unreal, man. And by the way, they're still covering some numbers too. That's the other part about this that is wild.
The spread for their semifinal game here in Vegas for the NBA Cup, laying 10.5 against the Spurs, still the TBD of it all with Victor Wembanyama. Total 225.5 there. And then the Magic and the Knicks in the Eastern Conference side of things. Knicks laying 4.5, total 223.5. Okay, let's get into big game that we have on deck tonight. Thursday night football. The Falcons and Bucs going head-to-head in Tampa at the Pirate Ship. Bucs laying 5.5 now in most spots, total 43.5. And at the end of the show, we'll have our best bets. We'll also have Jeff Erickson of RotoWire join the program. He's going to talk through his angles on this game, as well as looking ahead to the full Week 15 slate, maybe give us some fantasy options as well. But from a prop betting perspective, there are a few angles that stand out here. And we talked earlier about the fact that for the Bucs, looks like Mike Evans is going to be back for the first time since getting injured and breaking his collarbone in Week 7. What should we be expecting from him? From a numbers standpoint, do you target the receiving yards? Do you think he's going to be on a pitch count? How do you look at this?
I mean, I'd rather go receptions than yards.
Okay.
Wouldn't you? I mean, Baker Mayfield, is very guilty, as some are, of just kind of spamming his top target with targets. So I would assume that even on a pitch count, you're going to get quite a few targets in the game, and thus the ability to go over a relatively low reception mark. I think, 3.5 for Mike Evans?
Correct.
Like, that is something that I think is attainable for Evans here tonight.
You see it juiced to the under on the receptions number, minus 143. So
wouldn't you think that the market believes that there's going to be some sort of either rust and or pitch count for him today?
It seems like it. And for a guy of his caliber, especially when it comes to the deep ball, having a receiving yards total at 39.5.
Like, if I told you, week 2,
yeah,
hey, Mike Evans reception props only 3.5 and the overs plus money.
Sure. I
think you'd probably I'd take a piece of that. So, but I do think that there's probably because here's the other part. I know they said this. We heard from Josh Grizzard earlier today about their offense coordinator, about getting Emeka Egbuka involved quickly and often and having a big game. But I would assume with the inability to have like a real live practice, that maybe that also goes for Evans, and maybe even more so. Mm-hmm. And so really quickly getting him in, getting him some early targets, getting him some easy catches, and seeing if he's comfortable.
Fun fact about Grizzard. Did you know he's from a place called Lizard Lick, North Carolina?
It'd be better. I mean, unless you're pronouncing this incorrectly, but it'd be better if his name was Grizzard.
It would probably. Yeah, because then it'd be like Grizzard from Lizard Lick.
Yeah, the Grizzards from Lizard Lick. Yeah, exactly. Like, that'd be way better.
But did you ever see that show, Lizard Lick Towing? It's like a reality TV show on True TV. You got to look up some of the YouTube clips from it. It's fascinating.
There's no shot right now that you're going to tell me you've never heard of Big Willie Style and or the song Welcome to Miami, but you're going to hit me with what?
Lizard Lick Towing.
Lizard Lick Towing?
Look it up.
You watch what's the Duck Show?
Duck Dynasty? Hell yeah, brother.
That's ridiculous.
Listen, also, I'm tired of the way that you've been treating me about this whole Will Smith thing. I had heard about getting jiggy with it, all right? Everybody says that phrase. I knew it was a song. I knew it was Will Smith. But you can't be mad at me for not knowing the words or the bops to his other songs.
Chris Macero I sat with him yesterday.
Listen,
he knew. He was shocked that you didn't know what Welcome to Miami
You got to
was.
let it go, man. You got to let it go. Time to move on.
These old fogies know what's going on, and yet you have no idea?
So maybe that's their kind of music. It wasn't mine. I was in a big Britney Spears era at the time.
When I think of Chris Massaro, I do think professional better. I do think of Big Willie style and Will Smith. I think he's a big Will Smith guy.
And we can talk about this more in a little bit. The one that I was looking at, you have no interest in here, and we can discuss this more on the other end of the break because you already brought it up earlier when I was bringing up Kyle Pitts to the table. Because with the Drake London injury, it's like Darnell Mooney, nobody else really has elevated from a pass catching standpoint. And Pitts has been peppered with targets since Kirk Cousins stepped back up, 18 targets the last 2 weeks. I would expect because of some of Tampa's defensive injuries, they try to attack the middle a little bit, which seems like it would be ripe for the picking for him. The receptions number is high at 5.5, but you look through some of the numbers, he's targeting him an average of 8 times per game in the 4 he's played, and that includes when you go back to the earlier season game against Miami when he stepped in. Last week against Seattle, 10 targets, 6 catches, 90 yards. Jets, 8 targets, 7 catches, 82 yards. But I like the receptions more than the yards, just because I'm not so sure how much I trust like the explosiveness element of the offense with Kirk Cousins. But I'll get your opinion on this coming up next. I do want to remind people, though, as we look through all of these props throughout the course of the day and every show every day, you can also go to VSiN.com where you can compare some of the numbers you might be thinking and that are percolating in your brain with our AI prop projector tool that compares their AI projection directly with what the books are putting out there at DraftKings. VSiN.com/subscribe is how you get access to it all. And I think well put in a segment that we also discussed NBA. We have NBA player prop projections as a part of that as well. VSiN.com/subscribe. We'll continue this conversation. And still to come, Jeff Erickson on the program this hour, RotoWire.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
As the official horse racing partner of VSiN, First Bet is built for bettors who demand more. First Bet isn't just about placing a bet. It's about helping bettors of all levels with proprietary AI handicapping tools that provide data-driven insights to help you make smarter bets. First Bet's in-app tools give you win, place, and show probabilities for each runner so you can quickly and easily identify good value plays and improve your ROI. And right now, you can take advantage of their limited time $250 sign-up offer. To claim your bonus, use promo code VSIN250 when you sign up in the First Bet app or at firstbet.com. That's promo code VSIN250.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining in on social media. And if you haven't talked to us on X or any of that before, please do at VSiN Live, at Storm Buonantony, at MeJVT. You can also send us messages to our email if you prefer that route, moneymoves@vsin.com. But I'm getting like a very good gif here from Jason Stark of Will Smith in the saying, "Welcome, we're going to Miami." That is, maybe this is what I need to do. Just on my drive home today, just get on Spotify, listen to the album, and just...
Well. Okay.
Can you give me your top? What are your top 5 Will Smith songs?
I don't know about top 5. I just think you need to listen to Get Jiggy With It.
Can you name more than 2?
No, yes, there was. Okay, I can't name the other one, but people can look this up. So there's Get Jiggy With It. There's Welcome to Miami. I believe he had a song for the Wild Wild West movie. Did he not?
Oh, yes.
I think that was a pretty good song as well, if I remember it, which, by the way...
That's one I would know.
He did, right?
I love
okay,
that
thank
movie.
you, Rob. Rob Moreno's point of giving me a big thumbs up. I don't remember what that was. Now that I have thought about this,
I mean, doesn't he say Wild Wild West? Isn't it called Wild Wild West?
It might
like
be.
98% sure. That's a bop.
It's called Wild Wild West.
That's a banger.
Yeah, so try that one. I would
I know
also
that
say,
one
by the way, like sneaky underrated movie for the time. Like that was kind of a solid flick. Came out like 2000, if I remember it correctly. Those would probably be the top 3. I would also say
Kevin Kline. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I don't think he's on this song. However, it is a song for a Will Smith movie. But Shake Your Tail Feathers was one of the best songs of that time when it came.
Is that a him song?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I know for sure it's Nelly, but it was for...
that's a great tune as well.
It was for Bad Boys 2. So I don't know if he's on the track, but I know it's for one of his movies. But for sure, those 3, Get Jiggy With It, Welcome to Miami, and Wild Wild West. Those 3, I think, would be the ones you listen to.
Also, you made a comment earlier on the program about how I am not as nice as people might think on air. Although I think that I have...
Oh, how can we forget the Men in Black song? Good poll for Brian.
Sing it.
Well, I don't remember it. I'm just saying that it was a song as well. So put that on your list as well. Men in Black.
So I think the movie ones are more.
The Men in Black. Yeah,
that was a Will Smith song too?
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that song. So I know the movie related ones.
Yeah.
But Brian said, we all know Stormy is evil when the camera is off. Just think about the mean girl they caught with Dave Ross when he was trying to be a good friend advising her about loading sportsbook accounts with a card. Listen. Those G-Bank commercials, that was acting. I am an actor. I don't know how much I need to stress this.
You know, some of the hit movies, the comedy, like the comedy movies especially, a lot of the scenes are just kind of, they're riffing. That's what you and Dave were doing. They just turned the camera on and said, Stormy, act like yourself.
Come on.
And then boom.
Okay, I did have a couple more propositions for you here in the prop market. I'm curious if you had any as well for Thursday Night Football that you wanted to dive into. But one other one that caught my eye in tonight's Bucs-Falcons game, which, by the way, again, we are sitting largely 5.5 across the market, was Bijan Robinson when it comes from a receiving yards standpoint, 36.5 the number. Bucs give up the most receiving yards per game to running backs, 53.9. Do we think Bijan can have a day through the air?
Yeah, so this was the one you said, is there any other one? This was it.
Okay.
You mentioned like the numbers for Tampa Bay's defense and how poor they've been at covering running backs out of the backfield. We know explosive Bijan can be. This number is below the season average for him as well, everything you've kind of talked about here. So I think that Robinson would be a candidate to go over 38.5 receiving yards. Okay. That was definitely on my list. And look, Kirk Cousins, the numbers last year, he lit up the Bucs in the 2 games that he played, as we jokingly referenced. But I would think that they're going to try to get him involved and get this going. And while Cousins didn't play particularly well last week against Seattle, this is going to be a much better game to kind of get him comfortable and to get Bijan Robinson, I think, a little bit more comfortable as well. Bijan, have we settled?
Well, it's interesting. He said like the actual proper one is Bijan, but he likes going by Bijan now, so he changed it. So we've been right all along. He just made us feel wrong, but then he made us right again. So
by the way, another one. Thank you, Bet in the Woods. How could I forget Summertime by Will Smith?
I don't think I know that one. I don't think I know.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Will Smith had some good ones, actually. Wow.
All right, I have a 30-minute drive home today, so I will hit as many as I can on the drive.
You got it.
I'll report back tomorrow. I'll give you my full breakdown and thoughts. That said, we got to get some thoughts.
Make a graphic of her top 5, like these 5. Can I get a power ranking, please?
I'll give you my Will Smith power rankings.
Okay.
The contest numbers are out here at Circa as we have to make our ATS plays and picks every single week. And going through some of the numbers, just curious at first blush if there are any sides that you already plan to bet that you think we should also use as contest plays?
Yeah, so so let's go with a couple here. First off, all right, we'll go immediately to what I think is the pimple on the forehead right now. The thing you can't stop looking at. Chiefs are really laying 5.5 here, huh? I understand how bad this offensive line has been for the Los Angeles Chargers. I guess I understand that bouncing back after a loss is something the Chiefs will do. 5.5. Again, we will roll with the assumption that 2 is your home field advantage. They're 3.5 points better than the Chargers from what we've seen.
I feel like a lot of that number is narrative driven of it's a gotta have it win right now for the
Wouldn't
Chiefs.
You love to go against a narrative driven line move?
I normally would, but I don't love.
Wow.
I don't
You still believe?
No, it's not about that. Am I supposed to believe what we saw from the Chargers this past week was awesome?
No.
That game was a mess.
It was.
Granted, they get the win outright as a dog, all of the things. But we talked going into the game, like, why are the Eagles favored in this spot to begin with? And now you have Justin Herbert who has to say his hand is really sore after coming out of that game. And he didn't regret the stiff arm, which I appreciate. He ran all over the place, but career low in completion percentage, 6 fewest pass yards of his career, had an interception and a lost fumble in the win. The offensive line issues that you've already referenced, I don't have a strong level of confidence in the Chargers either.
I just think, to me, it's about the number.
Okay.
And I just don't think there's this gap between these two teams that the market is telling us is there.
I do feel like 5.5 is a bit much, but
okay, all right.
Chiefs. Granted, we didn't see that in the primetime game, but the Chiefs have had much better numbers at home than they have on the road as well. So there's that.
One goal. It's by the end of the day tomorrow. You're in on the Chargers, and you love Will Smith.
It's an uphill battle.
I guess technically those are two goals.
It's going to be an uphill battle. Can the Carolina Panthers get a win and cover as a favorite for the first time in what feels like forever? And it has literally been years.
2.5 point favorite on the road against the Saints. I mean, if not now, when? As we
That's
have
kind of
had this
my thought.
theme throughout the show.
And they've got a chance. They've got a chance for the division now. Dave Canales is saying every game is a championship opportunity. They've got a heightened focus, awareness.
You had a week to get ready for this.
Yeah, they're coming off a bye
against the team that you laid an egg against.
You laid an egg against them. You're not overlooking them because of the loss and plus the win they're coming off of right now against Tampa.
Are we not, though, crafting a narrative as opposed to looking at the number, despite the fact that we just pushed back on the narrative of the Chiefs bouncing back against the Chargers?
Well, don't you think the Saints are getting some respect the way they've played the last few weeks as well?
Don't you think they're deserving of the respect that they're getting after they've been playing over the last few weeks as well?
Sure. But I'm pro Panthers. You know that.
I know. I'm just trying to push back, play devil's advocate. I would agree.
Okay.
I would also say that's your pick.
Since you are laying an alt number on the Seattle Seahawks, do you want to lay 13.5 against the Colts?
Yes, let's go.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
What I mean, that I thought was, that's an assumed, like, we're in, right?
Riley Leonard was a full participant yesterday.
Oh, now I'm out.
By the way.
What's the
well,
LeBron
no,
gift?
You and I, we didn't. We played one of the clips from Phillip Rivers yesterday, but we didn't from Shane Steichen, who was asked if Rivers could play even if Leonard was healthy. To which he said, "We'll get to the end of the week and make that decision."
I gotta read this for you.
So we don't even know what that's going to look like right now. But as we were talking about this morning too with our boss Steve Cohen, the secondary issues that you have going on. No Charvarius Ward. Sauce Gardner's been roasted and toasted. He's out of this for the year. So not a lot looking up for Indy right now.
Stephen Holder, who covers the Colts, tweeted out 43 minutes ago as the Colts were wrapping up practice. A little bit of footage of Phillip Rivers again. 2 days in now, and my time in the building this week has left me only more, he put in all caps, convinced Phillip Rivers is this week's starting quarterback.
Wow.
I'll lay 13.5.
The Athletic anonymously interviewed, I think it was like 9 or 10 anonymous executives and coaches. And after we heard all of the front-facing people that were coming out and saying, oh, wow, he's the best chance this is going to work, the words coming out of it are this will be a disaster. Rivers will be a sitting duck. There is a lot of negativity from the anonymity versus the people that had been forward-facing saying this is the best. This gives them the best chance.
I know we've been tracking practice stuff today here too. From about 40 minutes ago, Lane Johnson is going to need another week before returning to the Eagles lineup. Did not practice again today, and reports out of Philly are that he will be done one more week.
Just as big a news, the Eagles' inflatable positivity rabbit that was installed in their locker room last week has since been removed. So it was supposed to bring good vibes. It brought an L. So there you go. By the way, as we are broadcasting each and every day from right here at Circa Resort and Casino, we've got a very cool opportunity for an unforgettable experience out here. The first 100 new VSiN Pro annual subscribers who signed up using the promo code Circa are getting a free 3-night stay here at Circa Resort and Casino January 2nd through the 5th, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. You'll also save 50% off your monthly price of a full year of VSiN. VSiN.com/Circa, promo code Circa.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Thursday Night Football is upon us from the pirate ship later this evening as the Bucs play host to the Atlanta Falcons. Bucs currently laying 5.5 points, total 43.5 when this game was first picked for prime time late in the season on Thursday night. I'm sure the schedule makers thought that they were going to get this hotly contested game for first place, and instead the implications are very different, albeit still important for Tampa Bay. And to help us discuss this game and a whole lot more as we look ahead to Week 15 in the NFL, Jeff Erickson joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line, RotoWire senior editor, host of RotoWire's Fantasy Sports Today on SiriusXM Channel 87. Atlanta been on the wrong side of a lot of close games, Jeff, this season. They lose their starting young quarterback for most of the year. How do you see tonight playing out against a Bucs team that is coming off a loss but pretty motivated to try to stay on top of the division?
Yeah, absolutely. They are. And you have to be a sense of embarrassment, maybe even from the Bucs in this one here, that, they're not going to let their guard down, which is good because with Atlanta, we always kind of count on them doing the opposite of what everybody expects. If they're favored, that's when they completely flop. When they're an underdog, they're kind of frisky at times. However, I think that has changed a little bit there. No Drake London has really just neutered this Atlanta offense. It's really made Kirk Cousins look as awful as he possibly could. I think it's kind of tough on Cousins because I do think he's severely on the decline phase. But at the same time, he's kind of playing with one hand tied behind his back because I think this rest of this receiving core, I think to be kind, is lacking. Darnell Mooney just he never fully recovered from that shoulder injury and David Sills is your number 3 receiver there on that team. So I think it's really tough. Because of that, I think this is another one where I'm kind of on the Bucs side. A couple of props I like. Under on Kirk Cousins on 206.5 passing yards. I just think this is a tough look for him to get this done. Even against a Bucs secondary that can be a little bit pliable, but I think it's going to be a little rough for him.
I like it. All right. Anything else here? Was Godwin a target for you as well?
Yeah, I think a lot of attention's been placed on Mike Evans coming back because it just got confirmed that he is going to play tonight. I think a lot of attention will be paid attention to that. But I think Godwin is still the guy that moves the chains for this team. And I really like the over 3.5 receptions for him on this game. I think that's a pretty attainable, easily attainable goal. I kind of like that as a look. I kind of looked into maybe looking into Ibuka in the receiving yards because I can't quit him. I've got him in a couple fancy playoff matchups tonight, and I can't sit him. So I thought maybe I'll try to play the props as well. I think I'm just going to play the fantasy and avoid. I think it's been priced up enough, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game as well. Well,
to follow up on that, and it is great that you come at this from such a fantasy perspective as well. With Baker Mayfield in general right now, he hasn't looked himself, and I don't know if it's from an injury standpoint or just the fact that, as you put out there, he hasn't really had his full complement of pass-catching weapons this season for a long, long stretch of it. How do you view this offense as a whole with him throwing the football right now?
Yeah, I do think the injury is a factor. Even though it's his non-throwing shoulder, it still affects his mechanics, it affects his pain threshold. I think he's been off for a little bit of while. And in fact, earlier in the season, he was kind of one of those, he's getting away with it sort of types of players. You know, he had some shaky moments in some games and then would pull it out with the big comeback. They'd have the miracle fourth quarter. He got a lot of scrambles, and I don't think he's getting as many scrambles as he did earlier in the season. To make an analog, he's kind of like, we keep waiting for the Chicago Bears to falter as a team. They can't keep getting away with it team. I think Baker was that quarterback for a while, and unfortunately, he hasn't been getting away with it lately. That Rams game on Sunday night was tough. Playing in the monsoon against the Saints wasn't helpful. The weather should not be an issue tonight, at least, so we can take that reason away. And adding Evans back, I think, does help a little bit there. So I think you start Baker Mayfield if you have him in your playoffs, unless you have, unless you kind of backed into another better pivot there. And there's not too many of them. I've got Baker around 10 in my rankings this week.
All right, let's zoom out. Let's go to Sunday with some matchups. Talk some sense into my girl here because she loves the Chiefs. Still think they have everything in front of them here. But 5.5 for Kansas City against the Chargers. What are we doing?
I just said this game is more of a lesser than two evils is kind of how I feel about it. I don't have a ton of confidence on either side, but you both like LA, so why?
So I think this is very similar to previous matchups like against the Colts and against the Texans last week where the Chiefs – they get hey, they're the Chiefs. I'm never betting against Mahomes sort of movement there. And I understand like the public is backing the Chargers. The money's backing the Chiefs, which is an interesting dichotomy because I would have thought it might be the other way around. And it's opened at 4.5. It's up to 5.5 now. I can't give the Chiefs offense more credit than 3 points in the standard, neutral. This is a equal matchup against between two teams. So you get the home field advantage. Anything beyond that, I feel pretty good about the Chargers side of things. The one thing that works against the Chargers here is the rest factor. They played an entire extra quarter, and they played it on Monday night. That's one thing that I am scared about. But I think that this defense for the Chargers is strong enough to have something dialed up for Mahomes and company again. The Chiefs are essentially out of the playoffs. I mean, they really need – they don't control their destiny. They need to run the table and get some help, and I don't know if they can do that. I don't think their run game is threatening enough. I think that's one thing that at least the Eagles could run the ball against the Chargers. I don't believe in Kareem Hunt. I don't believe in Isaiah Pacheco. I don't believe in the offensive linemen being able to right the ship. I mean, Simmons is out for the season. They're down multiple offensive linemen, maybe down to their third tackle at left tackle. I just think that's too much to overcome for the Chiefs. So I'll take the line movement in the opposite direction. I feel pretty good about that.
RotoWire senior editor Jeff Erickson joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line as we continue to go through Week 15 from a prop betting perspective. What was one you put in the account right away, felt like you had a prop advantage going into the weekend?
First thing I looked at was the Houston Texans against the Arizona Cardinals. We've been riding Jacoby Brissett into the fantasy playoffs. He and Michael Wilson. Usually I come on this show on Thursday and give you the Michael Wilson receptions prop. I'm not going to do so this time because I'm deathly afraid of this Houston Texans defense. Jacoby Brissett's passing yards prop is 232.5 passing yards. Only one quarterback at Houston has gone over 200 yards, period, and that was Josh Allen. And remember, that was still a nightmare game for Josh Allen. They got a lot of those yards on that hook and ladder play at the very end of the game to get to that. I understand Arizona is going to throw it like 47 million times because they can't run the ball. They won't run the ball. But I think this game could be a lot like the San Francisco at Houston game earlier this year, where Houston methodically moves the ball up and down the field. They control the time of possession. And then anytime they do drop back, that Arizona gets the ball, they're going to be under siege. No Paris Johnson at left tackle for the Arizona Cardinals this week. I think that really hurts Brissett as well. I'm just hoping, and with the leagues where I have Wilson and I have Brissett, I can hold on to week 16 and 17 when they get Atlanta and then Cincinnati in the fantasy championships in week 17.
All right, Jeff, nothing lasts forever. All good things must come to an end. One day, my soul will be extinguished from this earth, and so too will the run of tight ends against the Cincinnati Bengals, but I assume that that's not going to happen this week.
No, historically bad tight end defense here for the Cincinnati Bengals. They 15 touchdowns against, over 1,200 receiving yards by tight ends. It's pick your prop. And if you want to go Isaiah Likely or Mark Andrews, I'm down with either of those. I think Likely is the guy that I'm focusing on here. The last 2 weeks he's been ascendant. He's been two whack-a-mole plays by him. The Thanksgiving game against the Bengals, and then the game against the touchdown that wasn't against the Steelers. But he is getting more and more targets in this game, in this Ravens offense. The Bengals gave up 95. Give up. As we talked about there, Likely got like 95 receiving yards against them last time out. I love the 3.5 receptions over prop, and I love the 34.5 receiving yards prop. Both of those on at FanDuel. At DraftKings, you can get a 2.5 receptions prop, but it's pretty heavy juice. So that's why I just said, take the higher number and get the positive payout here. That's the route I'm taking with Likely. Anytime touchdown is 230 for him. I think maybe he'll do more efforts to secure that ball over the goal line, but I think all of these are in play.
As a Bengals fan, how did you take in the comments from Joe Burrow speaking about his future and his enjoyment of the game right now?
Strong Andrew Luck vibes here. It was hurtful. And I don't blame him one iota. I feel bad for him. Played his heart out against Buffalo, made the one crazy play there that just destroyed that game. But it's year after year. It's just another wasted year. I understand where he's coming from with that. I just hope he doesn't retire. I hope he, at first when, after they lost the Super Bowl, I kind of like, oh, well, I hope he's not Dan Marino where he gets to one Super Bowl, but has a fabulous career. Now I'm hoping he's not Andrew Luck where he retires early.
Yeah, that's the exact comment that JVT made earlier. What?
You gave me a very dirty look just now.
You were pointing at me.
Yeah, because you blamed Joe Burrow 10 minutes ago, and you're not going to unload that take on Jeff here?
I didn't blame Joe Burrow. I just said I thought it was interesting that none of the commentary around him was at all in regards to how he wanted to pay his wide receivers instead of get better offensive linemen in. That was all I said. That's all I said.
I think you could do both. The Bengals don't do the creative financing. You look at the contracts that Higgins and Chase both signed this offseason. They didn't do what the Eagles do, where it's maybe more cash up front, where it's more based in the signing bonus. They don't do that sort of stuff. Yeah. They had known weaknesses at right guard. They had known weaknesses on defense. They didn't do any of that. If they knew they weren't going to pay Trey Hendrickson long term, either trade him then when he has a huge amount of value. Either they didn't do that either. They don't do. They only did the sufficient. They didn't do They did the necessary, not the sufficient. Yes, Burrow wanted those guys paid, but it goes deeper than that.
A lot of organizational malpractice, it feels like, coming out of Cincinnati at times, despite some of the great talent that they do have, most notably at the quarterback position. Jeff, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Everybody, make sure you check out all the work over there at RotoWire. Jeff Erickson. We got to take a quick timeout, but when we come back, wrapping up this Thursday edition of the program, final thoughts and best bets upon us.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
before the line moves, the sharp plays already there, folks. They don't just follow the market, they help shape it. You're not going to outsmart billion-dollar sports books or full-time sharps on your own, but with the sharp plays, you don't have to. Powered by advanced AI, connected to proven insider sources, and active across the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and college hoops, Sharp Plays delivers the edge serious bettors rely on. Free daily reports, real-time alerts, and market-moving insights straight to your inbox feed. So ask yourself the question. You could be the blade, you could be the handle. Go to sharpplays.com. Stay ahead of the line. Visit sharpplays.com.
I can't handle you right now.
Why?
He's Jonathan Von Tobel.
Man.
I'm Stormy Buonantony. We're wrapping up this. So we were talking.
As you work through your issue right now, you can reach us at moneymoves@vsin.com. That is the email, correct? I think I got that right.
Yes.
Patrick checks in. Appreciate it. Patrick Kelly out in Denver. Great show. Fairly new to VSiN. Welcome. Evans, we were talking about, hey, early targets. Let's go get them comfortable early. Evans' first quarter reception, any yards, so just a first quarter reception, minus 151 at DraftKings. 2 receptions is plus 298. As he notes here, I know the game prop probably a lot safer. Evans 5 or more first quarter receiving yards, minus 112 over at DraftKings. Oh, thank you again, PK. We appreciate it. You have piqued Stormy's interest.
I must have been looking at a different number because I thought that was 10.5 for the first quarter, but 5.5.
Yeah.
It's very intriguing.
5 or more first quarter receiving yards, minus 112. Also, we did get news, minor. We don't have to hang on this, but I know Derek Gwynn likes to check in. Big Southern Miss guy. Blake Anderson has been promoted to be the school's next head coach. Was last at Arkansas State and Utah State. Was ousted in shame out at Utah State. Now taking over at Southern Miss. I don't know about the shame part. I just assume. A couple of other things.
Yeah, 4.5. Minus 112. That's very interesting. I like that, Patrick. Thanks for passing along.
Appreciate it, PK. And again, if you want to get in touch with us, moneymoves@vsin.com. We read every email and every word.
That is a worthwhile angle, though, when we talked about the Evans props in general, where he sits 39.5 for the receiving yards, 3.5 for the full game from a reception standpoint. But for him to get a catch early, I could absolutely see that happening. And the likelihood of it being 5 yards or more is very reasonable. Very reasonable.
The risk is 3 and out, like 2 long drives or a long drive, whatever. Yeah. You could get burned, obviously, but still, I would think because he hasn't had the contact that you want to get him out there and ready to go. Somebody named Bobby Knuckles, who hosts a podcast called VSiN's First Strike Podcast, says that he says that he saw Will Smith in concert at the House of Blues here in Las Vegas earlier this year. It was an absolute blast. Hopefully he did not freestyle in said concert. You haven't seen this clip, have you?
No, is he not a good freestyler? Oh, no.
I'll have to play it for you. It's not great.
It's all about the written word,
Yes. You have to be prepared for that, because that is not something that you can just do off the top of the dome like that.
Did also want to give a quick update here, and I know we'll wrap things up with some of our best bets for the day and the like here in a moment, but Mike Tomlin was on the podium today and naturally asked a lot of questions about what the heck is going on with TJ Watt. Stud linebacker for the Steelers was reportedly hospitalized dealing with a lung issue, and Tomlin said he's a little bit cautious about what to say because he himself is not a medical expert and completely understand from that standpoint, but he said, to make a long story short, Watt was experiencing some discomfort when he was at the facility yesterday, so they took him to the doctor, and they are going through some procedures and testing, and he did stay overnight at the hospital last night and remains there where things sit right now. So questionable coming up this week against Miami, but we talked about it earlier, a very serious development for the best player on that team right now.
Yes, it is. I think Miami's kind of live in that game. I know we have until Monday to decide. I saw this on the broadcast on Monday night, this last Monday. I'm assuming this is accurate. I'm also assuming I remember this properly. Mike Tomlin has coached 24 Monday Night Football games. He is 21-3 on Monday Night Football.
What?
Double check this for me, because I remember seeing this, and my first thought was, what's more shocking, that he's coached that many Monday Night Football games or that he's 21-3 in said games? I feel like that can't be accurate. Maybe I misread the stat. Also, I should not be doing two things at once here, because I looked up the lyrics for Will Smith's freestyle, and boy, oh boy, it's worse than you thought. Am I right?
Okay.
Am I right about Monday night? I'm asking.
So, I mean, I just Googled and it said as of late 2023, 21 wins and 3 losses on Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm looking to see what the updated is.
Is that the Google AI? Can't trust it.
You can't. You really can't. But that is the Google AI's response to the question.
Yeah, so what's more shocking, that he's coached 24 games or that he's 21-3 on Monday night? If that is accurate.
It's a good hit record.
Yeah, like that's wild to me that he has that success rate, if that is a very true statistic. But I saw it on the ESPN broadcast, so it has to be. I mean, it's their thing. Sure.
I'm trying to see, because I have access to ESPN Sports and Information Group thing. I'm trying to see if it has that in their breakdown of the game. So I'm skimming through it. Hold on. Sorry.
Well, it's not that important. As you do that, I will recite poetry. No, I'm just kidding. All right. You want to go to Best Bets?
Roll through.
Okay, let's go to Best Bets here. I've got 2 in the National Basketball Association. I didn't have anything yesterday. But we'll go with the NFL first. I apologize, guys. I know we did this in the order. We'll add a couple in the NFL. Browns +8 this weekend. Man, we're going to do it. See, this is why you got to be consistent. Every week is different. I'll take this pass rush against that offensive line of the Chicago Bears and expect that the Bears and Caleb Williams are going to have a little bit of trouble operating with some efficiency here. I like 8. A couple of spots are at 7.5. I would expect we start to come off of that. So let's go with the Browns +8 against Chicago on the road this Sunday. Patriots taking on the Bills. I think they close as a favorite. Let's go with the Patriots money line against the Buffalo Bills here. To me, as we were talking about earlier today with the Chargers and Chiefs thing, to me, this is just an odd/money line deal. I don't think the Buffalo Bills are better than the Patriots. I think these two teams are equals with each other. I think if that's how you're going to, like, if you're making home field 2, if you're making it 1.5, whatever it is, that's what this should be. These two teams are not that different. I don't think Buffalo rates as the better team than New England at this point of the season. So we'll go Patriots money line at, I know this drives some people crazy, +100. In the NBA, 2 plays for you here. Kevin Porter Jr. over 2.5 made 3-pointers tonight at -120, taking on the Boston Celtics. Celtics give up a ton of threes. Kevin Porter Jr., he's only played in 6 games. If you would fancy a guess, what do you think he's shooting from 3-point range this year? He's only played in 6 games.
Like percentage-wise?
Yeah, percentage-wise.
33%.
61% from 3. It's ridiculous. He's not going to keep doing this, but he's shooting more. The Celtics shoot a ton of threes. My logic here being that I think that if you're going to keep up with Boston the way that they've played, you're probably going to take more threes. He's been pulling up at a really high rate, shooting more threes than he has ever in his career. So to ask him in a game in which there's probably going to be a lot of shooting, and by the way, with no Giannis Antetokounmpo, this team completely transforms into a jump shooting team. I think there's going to be a lot of shots, and thus we'll ask Kevin Porter Jr. to go over 2.5 3-pointers. And Derek Queen, still 10-1 to win Rookie of the Year. He has been performing admirably. There are pretty much no centers playing for the Portland Trailblazers today. So let's go with the Queen, the strongest piece on the board, over 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -114.
So you were correct on the stat.
That's crazy.
21-3 all-time on Monday Night Football, second highest win percentage of any head coach all time with at least 10 games. The only person he is behind is John Madden, who only coached in 13 games by comparison.
Yeah.
Yes, 11-1-1. Pittsburgh also enters this game, having won 22 straight home games on Monday night, the longest streak since Monday Night Football became in existence in 1970, and they haven't lost a home Monday night game since 1991.
Really? Wow. I was only 1 year old. You weren't born.
Ditto.
Yet.
I was a 90. Oh, I was.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't exist yet.
Yeah, what year were you born?
92.
How'd you forget your own birth year?
No, because I was flipping it. I thought we were the same age. You're a year older than me?
Yeah, something like that.
Or 2 years older than me?
Year and a half, whatever.
Whoa. Ancient.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
another tidbit, though, to close out the thought process on this game. Despite the great track record on Monday night, the Steelers are 0-3 this season in primetime games and have lost 5 straight in primetime dating back to last year.
I'll leave us with this. 100 rounds of life, but still boxing my shadow. Yeah, I took a knee, never threw in the towel, though. Hip-hop's Messi, Neymar, and Ronaldo. Goals scored on these boys. I done won damn near every single award on these boys. That's Will Smith.
That doesn't slap.
Yeah, it's not great.
But can I also say that I think the majority of songs, if you were to read them the way that you just did,
No, trust me.
wouldn't sound great.
Trust me, look up the video. You've got a lot of homework to do tonight. I'm sure you'll do every bit of it.
The way you were reading that reminded me of, the movie Big Daddy?
Yeah.
there's a scene where Rob Schneider is like being learned how to say words and read, and they put up hippopotamus, and he goes, heap hop. Hip Hop Anonymous? That's kind of how you were reading the lyrics to that song.
Luke, I'm sure you're familiar with this. You have to ask Mitch and Paul about it. The late, great Dave Koken here on ESPN Las Vegas way back in the day used to read rap lyrics to the beat all the time. That was a very good bit.
Awesome. That's a wrap for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Check us out, Money Moves. Remember, if you missed any of the show, missed any of Jeff Erickson's prop plays for the weekend, you can always catch Money Moves wherever you get your podcasts. Mitch and Paul coming up next with Follow the Money.